Welcome to Birch Banter. I'm Connor Bearse.
I'm Jake Dieball.
And I'm Ethan Reichel.
Before recording today, I opened up Google and asked the world's most popular search engine for some tips on running PPC ads. Google happily served articles full of advice for a business owner looking to improve their PPC skills. Are they good? Are they bad? Somewhere in between? Well, I pulled out 5 of these tips, and Jake, our lead media buyer, is going to expand upon them or correct them. Ready, Jake?
Let's do it.
Tip number 1, use long-tail keywords.
It's a solid tip, and it depends on how broad your market is. If there's tons of competition in the market and your product varies slightly differently somehow, then it's better to lean into the long tail keywords, because then you're going to get more high intent searches on your ad. You'll have a higher click-through rate. You'll have a higher conversion rate. If your market is very niche, I don't see the benefit of using a lot of long tail keywords, because if there's no search volume on those long tail keywords, for example, our main niche is we do marketing for escape rooms. For escape rooms, it's a pretty niche market, so it doesn't really pay to go bid on a term that's like, Harry Potter themed escape rooms in Mesa, Arizona, right? Because there's going to be a low search volume on that. So if you're only targeting those keywords, you're not going to capture a lot of searches. You'd be better off just targeting keywords such as escape rooms, escape room Mesa, escape room near me.
So what I love about this is that, Jake, you're smart enough and you're skilled enough to know we're talking about Google Ads here. But when I typed this in, I just said PPC tips. So a recommendation to use long tail keywords for someone who's just typing in PPC tips. You just got to make sure that you're in Google Ads. This isn't applicable for Meta or anything else. Tip number 2, set a realistic budget.
Good tip. On any of the PPC platforms, Meta, Google, wherever you want to go ahead and bid on ads, you're limited on what you can spend, and you're limited based on demand, but you're also limited on the budget for marketing that your business is going to allow. So, for example, like most of our escape rooms that come in when we're setting up their campaigns initially will typically like to start at a budget of about $50 a day, which buys us a solid portion of the impression share, which is essentially how many times your ad is going to appear compared to every time that keyword that you target is searched. So if you go in and you throw in a budget of like $300 a day or something, number one, Google likes taking your money, so they'll charge you more per click and your budget will go away faster. However, if you only go in spending $5 a day or so, you might show up a couple of times and get a couple clicks, but you're really not going to convert anything. So things to consider is just how many people are in your local population, what's the demand for your product or service within that, and then just set a reasonable budget that makes sense for your business based on those parameters.
Tip number 3, use negative keywords.
Negative keywords are great. A new feature on Google actually is you can set account-wide negative keywords. And what negative keywords are basically words that you punch into Google that say, hey, if any of these words are in the search, don't show my ads. So for example, we'll relate this back to escape rooms again. If you're an escape room and you need a list of negative keywords, I would include things like virtual. Because if somebody's searching for a virtual escape room and all you are is brick and mortar, you don't offer virtual games, that person's likely not going to convert for you. So having that in the negative keyword list will prevent you from showing up in situations like that.
Tip number 4, target at least 3 PPC platforms.
Yeah, I like this tip. It's always good to not have all your eggs in the same basket, and targeting different PPC platforms, you could use different types of creative. So you have different types of ads out there. You're getting more eyeballs. It's a win-win all around. We typically like using Google for the search network, and then we like using Meta so that we can advertise with photos and videos on Facebook and Instagram. So that's pretty much our 3-platform approach. There's tons of other things out there. If you have different content, if you have really strong videos, I would suggest, advertising on YouTube with those, because you can kind of pick and choose what kind of content you want your ads to show over, so you get people within the general interest realm of what you have to offer. Consider what are your strengths and weaknesses in terms of marketing creative. Do you have these pictures and videos? If not, maybe you should just stick to Google search and other search ad platforms. And if you do have that high quality creative, then you can kind of delve into that world of Meta, YouTube, anything where photos and videos are going to be successful.
Tip number 5, don't try advanced features like interest-based ads, ad scheduling, campaign experiments, and other features until you establish a baseline in your ad account.
I like that tip as well. That's typically what I'll do when I'm managing campaigns is, we build out the campaign, we set it up, we launch it, and typically I let it run for 2 to 3 weeks before I start making any experiments, changing any ad scheduling, anything like that, because it's good to know just first off, like, how are my ads performing based off this? And we don't like making any changes in our ad account anyways that aren't data backed. So giving 3 weeks for that campaign to kind of run on its own, it'll give you some data so you could say, all right, nobody's converting on Tuesday. So let's go ahead and drop our bids on Tuesday so we're not paying much for clicks as we are on Friday when people are the most likely to convert. It also allows the PPC platform a little bit of time to build up some AI learning based on your campaign so that it can also optimize it on the back end on its own.
Thanks, Jake. With that, we'll wrap it up. I'll read us out. Birch Banter is a Birch River production. A big thank you to Jake Dieball, produced by myself, Connor Bearse, and edited by Ethan Reichel.